refused to let physical disabilities keep her from reaching amazing heights. Today's Melissa Stark introduces us to Aimee Mullins. Melissa, good morning.
Good morning, Katie. Nice to see you. And Aimee has been proving people wrong since the day she was born, determined not to let the word disabled mean less abled. In fact, she's already managed to do more than many do in a lifetime.
You can call her beautiful. That's easy. Talented and smart. Also obvious. Different. She won't argue that. Just don't call her an inspiration.
Calling me inspirational or saying that what I do is inspirational robs me of having any talent.
Some people thought 27-year-old Aimee Mullins would fight impossible obstacles her entire life as a double below-the-knee amputee. But they've been proven wrong. Time and time again. In fact, Aimee Mullins has accomplished more than your average 27-year-old, period.
I didn't choose this, and I'm not dealing with it, I'm not coping with it, I'm living with it. It's my life.
Aimee was born into a middle-class family in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Born without fibulae in both her legs, her parents had an agonizing decision to make for their first child, whether to confine her to a wheelchair for life or have both her legs amputated below the knee. On Aimee's first birthday, her parents decided having Aimee's lower legs amputated would allow her the most independent mobility. And Aimee's determination and strong will helped confirm her parents' choice.
I remember thinking at a very early age, I just didn't take no for an answer. I remember thinking they just didn't know. They were telling me how much time it was going to take for me to learn how to walk on a new pair of limbs. I'll have this down in an hour. And I knew it. And I would.
Aimee tackled elementary school much the same way.
Playing after school, playing kickball, playing anything, and being good at it. I had to be as good as everyone else was to keep up.
But as with any teenage girl, puberty wasn't easy.
When you were 13 years old, you did ask, why me?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I'd be lying if I said it was all fabulous all the time, and I was always centered. I think any of us, especially girls, when you hit puberty, it's a rough time. You know, I had wooden legs. You know, the technology hadn't developed in 60, 70 years.
So miniskirts were out.
Miniskirts were out as a 12-year-old and a 13-year-old, definitely. I wish I could be myself now and go back to myself at 12 and be like, you're going to be okay, kid.
But that kid seemed to be doing just fine. Aimee went to Georgetown University on a full academic scholarship granted by the Defense Department. She was the only woman double amputee to run track on an NCAA Division I team. She graduated with honors, then went on to the Olympics representing the U.S. in the 1996 Paralympics, setting 2 world records in the 100-meter and the long jump. But Aimee had more on her agenda, choosing yet another career as a model, which for anyone can offer constant rejection.
Well, having people say to me, you're so beautiful, you don't look like you're disabled, it was very telling to me about 2 things. Number one, what people thought people with disabilities look like. And number 2, what people thought beautiful women should look like.
She proved them wrong, breaking the mold of the narrow definition of beauty and landing one of the hottest jobs a fashion model could hope for, being invited onto Alexander McQueen's runway for his 1999 London show, where nobody even knew she had prosthetic legs.
But it's not about triumphing over having prosthetic legs. When you just take it out of the equation completely, as it was done in that fashion show, I was the new model of the moment.
Still well known and respected in the elite fashion world, Aimee has moved on from modeling, returning to her childhood dream, one from her early days spent in the hospital, acting.
The first thing I can really remember is reading aloud, reciting, I knew it by heart, Cinderella to the ward, the staff, the other patients.
She now works with legendary acting coach Harold Guskin.
How did that happen?
I bullied my way in there. I called this guy up, I'd like to get a meeting with you, and he called me back and said, well, that's nice, kid, but I only work with established professionals. I called him back and said, I'm not going to go in on your answering machine, but suffice to say, I'm not your average 20-something blonde trying to break into this business. So I'm going to send you my press kit, and then if you still decide you don't want to meet me, I understand. I respect that, but don't say no until you know a little bit more about me.
Already, she's had parts in both art and traditional films.
I was suddenly taken from my home.
With all her success, she certainly hasn't abandoned other people with disabilities. But when she does public speaking, she's careful not to focus only on that.
Melissa, the best thing I'll ever do for people with disabilities is by not being thought of as one.
There is bound to be a lot more success around the corner for such a determined young woman. But what she desires most seems to be the most simple.
That I'm finally Aimee Mullins. And there doesn't have to be a qualifier before that. And my legs are not the most interesting thing about me.